Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Somebody with a strong voice read verse 1 through 11. Ecclesiastes 1, verse 1 through 11.
The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh. But the earth abideth forever. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. All things are full of labor, man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, See, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after.
Now, how many of us can relate to verse 11? There is no remembrance of earlier things. Y'all forgot what you had for lunch this morning or this afternoon? You done forgot what yesterday was? You know, that happens when you get y'all's age. I hadn't got there yet, so that's what I'm being told. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What does vanity mean? Say it again. Just chatter, all right? Yeah, doesn't really mean a lot. The definition says it's pointless or worthless. Okay, so then it listed all of these things that we see and we experience, and when it gets to the grand theme of things, what's it all mean? What's the point of it all? Okay, so the first part we're going to talk about focuses on things that really in the grand scheme don't matter. Then we're going to look at things in a different light. We're going to go to chapter 7 and reflect on things that do really matter. Let's watch this video here. What is the meaning of life? Or is it meaningless? All right. Somebody answer your question or answer the question, why? Why do you get up in the morning? Say that again. To have a fresh day. Okay. You have responsibilities, all right? If you didn't do those responsibilities, would somebody else do them? Okay, all right. Good deal. Okay, somebody else. Because God allows you, gives you another day to do whatever it is He has for you to do that day. Do we know what that is? Do we wake up with a new set of somethings every day, or do we have a particular path? You know, I have a job responsibility, but also as being called to the ministry, I may be called to teach, preach, or sing, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you have been, okay? You've been called to proclaim. You've been called to be a messenger. The method that you use may not be the same method that I use, okay? But we still have a reason for that. So why is everything in order to the extent that we call it in order? Why is it in order a structure for us to do every day? And did it change once you retired? You used to get up, you go to work. Now that you're retired, what happens? Do you just wake up every morning going, let me see what I want to do today? That's what you do? Let me see, what is it going to be? Okay. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I still have a little while before it's my time, but, I'm closer to it than I am from it. What doctor do you have to go to? That is true. Okay, so what would you say is your purpose in life? Being a helper, okay? Being one of God's disciples, all right? So far, y'all giving us things straight out of Scripture. I like that. To spread the word, okay? All right? Now, we're all given the good godly answers, but we beg the question, what do we do every day? The purpose, and when we get up, are we functioning these three things that y'all have said? Or are we going to work, we doing things, and we hope that we get a chance to serve. We hope we get the chance to disciple. We hope we get a chance to be a witness. We're hoping that that's going to happen. But until then, we got things to do. We got to get up and we got to go to work today, or we got to do whatever it is that we do. You are here for a purpose, and that purpose is to have a personal relationship with God. That is why you were created, was to have a personal fellowship and relationship with Him. The rest of the stuff is just part of life. It's the vanity part. It really doesn't have a whole lot of merit when you weigh it against the things that God has called us to do and the relationship that He expects us to have. We have relationships with our wives, with our husbands, with our children, our grandchildren. And by the way, the grandchildren is the best of all of them. But and we have friends, and all of that is wonderful. Do we spend as much time nurturing our relationship with God that we do nurturing our relationship with our friends and our family? Probably not. And so you think back, but our main purpose is to have a connection with Him. How do we connect with Him? Praying, okay? Say it again. Talk to Him. Worship. Worship is a wonderful way to connect. Prayer. What else? Relying on Him, putting our faith in Him, trusting in Him, watching Him fix, do, maintain, hold you, orchestrate, put all of your steps in place every day, build your faith. And you go, woo, wow, I can give Him more and more and more, and I can surrender more of my life based on what I've experienced Him doing in my own life, along the way. So our main purpose is to have a working, a functional, a time that we are opening up who God is in our own life and allow Him to speak to us. That personal relationship is love a part of human nature? Is that a term that man made up? Now, you may strive for those relationships where we love our wives, we love our children, and that's wonderful. We love our friends, but we get that very nature from the God who created us. Okay, and when He said He made us in our image, He didn't mean we look like Him. It meant that we have the same characteristics. Your capability to love, your capability to serve, your capability to be compassionate, your capability to feel and discern and to recognize the Holy Spirit, those are the things that He put in you that is coming out of His image, okay? So if we are to love, and it's different, my love for my wife for 42 years is different than my love for y'all, okay? Now, my love for God is totally different than my love for my wife and my children, all right? So if we are going to love as He commands us to do in a community type setting outside our immediate family, what does that look like? How can we nurture a loving relationship with a community that He places us in? All right? All right? Being there when somebody needs you. All right? You're doing it right now. You are here with a community, and that nurtures our love. We grow our love for each other. For me, at this point in time in my life, I've been here 32 years. I can't see myself going anywhere else because this is my family. You know, I've shared so many life situations with so many of y'all, and y'all have with me, that we are now, I mean, sometimes I spend more time with y'all than I do my own family. Now that my kids are grown and got families of their own, I see y'all a whole lot more than I see my own family. And that becomes your family. You know, I can call on either one of my sons to do something. They're as busy in their lives, but if something was to break or something happened in my particular family, I'm calling most of y'all, you know, because we can get it done a whole lot quicker and probably get it done right the first time if, you know, by doing that, and we become a community. Can any of y'all vision your life without each other, without us? Yeah, God may move you to another church and you may find another family, but where you are right now, would you like to go through life without us? No. If you can say that, then the church has missed its mark. We're not there and able to minister to you and reach out to you. Now, we do have those love relationships I do not understand, and y'all try to help me out. If you've been married 50 plus years, or you've been together and you're now in your 70s or 80s, and all of a sudden you can't stand each other anymore, and y'all are getting divorced after you've been married for, why? Isn't your house big enough that one of you can go on one end and one of you go on the other? Why are you calling it quits? And, you know, I've seen it, and I'm sit back thinking, I don't get it. You know, what has happened? Empty nest syndrome. Was your whole relationship built on your children, and it wasn't based on your husband and wife? Roxy and I can sit, we have recliners and a table between us, and we can sit there for 6 hours and never say a word and be just as content, or we can sit there for 6 hours and never stop talking and be just as content. You know, we can get along with each other, you know, in our own lives, but to go through all of that and say, you know, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give it up. I'm going to walk away from it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And then the last part is that we have purpose and fulfillment. What is your ministry purpose? Not what is your family purpose. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, I'm a husband, I'm a wife. I work in a particular field. I'm a director of the school board. All of those things, you know, is what is things that you do in your daily life. But what do you do for the cause of Christ? You talk about Him. Wonderful. Well, if you're talking good about Him. Yes, wonderful. Somebody else, what is your ministerial purpose? And what's the greatest fruit of being able to know that you are a follower of Christ? You have a personal relationship with Him. And that's with how you love the other brothers and sisters and how you love His greatest creation. If you can't stand people, you can't be, you know, have nothing to do with the human race. You think they all, you might want to retap and think of your salvation, because that's one of the fruits, is that we know each other by our love for our brothers and sisters, you know. Great point. Somebody else, what is your ministerial purpose? Absolutely. I would have to agree with you there. Yeah. And you see him do it. Those of us that's been here around a while, that is his. But it doesn't necessarily mean his is yours. All right? He can indeed cook. And he can make a knife. All right? Somebody else. Now, I'm going to be honest, because we're not just out here shouting it. We wonder why our churches today aren't packed to the rim, and it's because we are not functioning in the kingdom assignments that God's told us to do, okay? All of us could do more. Somebody was fixing to say something? Teaching, okay, all right. Do what? Serving, okay. And how do you do that? Gotcha. Say that again. Absolutely. That is a wonderful sentence. Still trying to find out what it is that God is assigned, and that is phenomenal. I'll give you some tips. Follow your heart. What do you have a passion for? And then once you do that, you start seeing, and God will open up doors, and you'll try some things, and you say, I have a passion for children, but I've got children at home. When I get here, that's really not what God's calling me to do. Doesn't mean you don't have a passion. It's just that's not the particular thing. How many people have we seen over the years that go fill a position within the church simply because nobody else will? We stopped having choir. I had a choir here for many years. We stopped when the people started telling me the only reason I'm coming is so that the choir loft isn't empty. You weren't called to do that. You may were at an earlier time, but that's no longer your passion. So, that's not what God's calling you to anymore, okay? God's timing is much better than ours. And now we see that as a general function of the church, choirs are just about gone. They don't exist, very much anymore. Some of the larger churches have them, but when they do, you'll see them like once a month. You won't see them every Sunday. And, so it still can be a wonderful thing. I miss it. I miss singing in them. I miss directing them. But sometimes God does close doors and moves the church in a different direction. Somebody else, what is your purpose, kingdom purpose? And we don't have to have those near things going, oh, I just missed it. But none of us are promised tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. We don't know what's going to go on in the world around us. And we're going to get to that in just a second. When it's all said and done, once it's over, it's over. You can't go back once the Lord has called you home and undo or do something different. It's done, okay? All right, for the sake of time, let's head that direction. All right, chapter 7, Ecclesiastes 7. I'm going to read these because we're going to take them one at a time and look at it a little bit. Ecclesiastes 7, let's start in verse 1. A good name is better than a good ointment, and the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. What's he saying? Why is your good name better than Vic Salve or whatever you're going to put on? Okay, can you be trusted? Are you faithful? Are you a person of integrity? What is your character? Yes, yeah. That's it, absolutely. And that's better than, he said, so that we're not entangling it, our personalities and our integrity, that it's not entangling our ministry. It is parallel. It's coinciding with our ministry. It doesn't come in conflict with it. All right? And the day of one's death is better than the day of one's birth. Would you like to be born tomorrow and have to live your life the way that the children are having to live it today? Now, my youngest son is in the ministry, and he called me, Dad, I got to do a widow's luncheon, and they're wanting me to do the music for it. What do I need to sing? And I said, son, please don't sing In the Sweet By and By, When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, When We All Get to Heaven. I mean, that's not. And so some of the songs that he is a phenomenal vocalist, I said, sing those. And, and I told him, what a friend we have in Jesus. I said, if you're going to do some congregational things, lean on me. There's some songs out there. And then he sings a song, Your Mercy is More, which is just phenomenal. And, those kinds of things to do that you can get the people to interact. I said, but so many times, and we're guilty of it, we have senior adult day here and we do songs about heaven. I get it, but please don't think that once you've retired or you've gotten a certain age that your best days are behind you. That does not have to be. Your best days for kingdom assignments can most definitely be ahead of you and be something that you're fixing to do, okay? Why is that? Because we live in a world today that has no clue what is going on. They need your wisdom. They need your experience. They need you to tell them this is good for you. And that I know all of y'all look at Facebook, and I know y'all believe everything that's written. Right? Everything that comes out is true. And how many, the halftime show that Turning Point did, how many of you thought it was going to be all of these other artists that they kept publicizing, and I didn't even know any of the four that was on there, but I was thinking, wait a minute, I thought Guy Penrod was going to be there. I thought C.C. Winan was going to be there. I thought all of these phenomenal vocalists, and it wasn't none of them. So whoever was writing these Facebook posts, now, back in the day, us people that remember before computers, let's remember we were trusting people's voice back then too. How many of you were told cigarettes were fine for you? Matter of fact, when I was in high school, we had a smoking circle at the age of 6. We were smoking at high school, at West Monroe High School. We had a smoking circle, and it was fine. You just stood in the circle. There was nothing wrong with it. And it's not going to hurt you. And then all of a sudden, the Surgeon General says, this might kill y'all. And we started listening to them. Okay? Now, I read an article today. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but marijuana is not good for you. Now, according to the New York Times, they posted a big article back in 2012 that said it's fine. There is nothing wrong with it. There is no side effects. It's not going to hurt you. Well, today they cleared their statement and said, oops, we messed up. It will make you delusional. It'll make you paranoid. There is now 18 million people that are marijuana users every day of their life. 18 million. And back in 2019, it was less than 1 million. In 2012, it was 6 million. So from 2012 to now, it's 18 million. This particular week, I teach the CDL course for school bus drivers. This particular week, I was teaching the class. And the very first section that I teach, I tell them, if you cannot pass a drug screen and you cannot pass a background check, don't waste your time or don't waste mine. I also tell them, if you have a medical marijuana card, it matters not in the state of Louisiana. If you test positive, you've lost your CDL license for 5 years, there is nothing I can do about it, and you've lost your job. Now, we'll go take a 5-minute break, and if you don't come back, we're not going to call you. We'll just understand that you knew you couldn't pass the drug screen, and every class I ever teach, somebody does not come back. This particular year, I have fired 4 who failed drug tests for marijuana. And in every case, it was prescribed by my doctor. I teach you, I tell you, I remind you, it does not matter. If you fail it in Louisiana, it is done and over with. Okay? I can't help you, and I wouldn't if I could. But everybody believed it. And this younger generation, and it's not really the younger, one of them was in her late 60s. And the people bought that. They believed the advertisement that there's nothing wrong with it. It now is more addictive than alcoholism is. It has surpassed alcoholism. Okay? Now, we are still buying that story that alcohol is okay. though it kills more people than anything else that's going on, but we're not sitting up here going, we need to ban it. It's killing people, but now we're talking about cigarettes. We need to stop because they're killing people. Marijuana, we need to stop because it's killing people, but we ain't said nothing about alcohol. I wonder why that is. Because it's a huge moneymaker. Mm-hmm. Not anymore, are they? And I know y'all think that your minister is perfect, and I know I look that way, but I'm not. And when I first got married, or when Roxy and I first started dating, I did smoke. And it was not, I grew up with it in my family and all of that. And I was standing outside of a building that I managed, and we had a little smoking circle out there, and all of us, were standing out there. And it, for no conversation, no reason other than the Holy Spirit, it was like he punched me in the face and said, you either sing or you're going to smoke, but you can't do both. And I never touched another one. And never had withdrawals, never, and was I 18 or 19? Were we married then? Right after we married. It was very shortly after we married. And, I never thought about it, never bothered with it again. Now, I do have an argument with one of them. Whoever decided that bacon will kill you, it's just going to have to kill me. Because, they have all of these essential oils that are out there. Bacon grease is one of them. It's essential oil, there are certain things that I'm just not going to, I can't do away. I'm not going to eat kale. If it grows, no, I'm not going to eat grass. No, I can't do that, and maintain this figure I have. I'm not going, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, but, yeah, milk is one of those I can't do without either. What do you miss about the past? Bubba, you've been missing quite a while, ain't you? Yeah. Do what? Yes. Yeah. My grandkids know that back in my younger days, I could do backflips all across and Granddad, you going, no, I ain't, no, I'm not even going to run like I want to. No, I'll be in contraction or whatever it is. I'll be in the hospital dead. No, I ain't fixing to do that. Yes, let's film it so we can, that would be American's Funniest Home Video, I promise you. So, what about the past do you really wish we had back? Yeah. The values. Things were taboo back in the day. Now everybody, there is no moral definition. Nothing really fits in a moral box anymore the way it did before. I remember when, and Mira, when she was teaching as well, there was a day, in Lane, when he was teaching, there was a day that there was not a pregnant woman that a young girl that came to school. If you got pregnant, you went home and you were homeschooled. You didn't come to the class. And now, it's not high schoolers, y'all, it is 6th graders, 7th graders that are coming to schools. And it's supposed to be accepted. We're not supposed to have, an attitude or negativity about it. And, I don't, it's too late for me to ridicule you now. Now I need to give you the grace and show you the arms of God, and I need to show you how you can get this all together. We need to have those conversations about adoption versus abortion, and we need to have those kinds of conversations, that's going to be the right thing to do. But, it's real mainstream today. Divorce was not big back in the day. It didn't happen as much as it does now. Now we no longer even call them spouses or wives or husbands. Now they're partners. Now we just live together, and when we get tired of living together, we move on and we live with the next one. And, there's really no moral dignity to the home. The husband and father and the importance of that father figure in the home, the importance of that mother figure in the home doesn't matter anymore, the way that we are now. So those are some of the things. You got something else in the past that you miss? Do what? Oh, yes, definition, knowing, common sense knowledge that you are and you are. It floors me that we decide to identify by they or them. Mira, Lane, isn't they or them plural? They and them means more than one because it's they and it's them. But you ain't but one person. How are you they and them? Did you fail an English test? Grammar? I mean, where did you get that? So say it again. Yes. 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 And Lord, can you explain to me why a 5-year-old walks on a bus and mama's mad because my bus driver took a $1,000 phone from a 5-year-old child? Ma'am, why does your child even have one? But I can't tell parents what to do. Lord, I wish I could. I wish I could to some degree. And we have to. All three of us are mandatory reporters. If we see things we by law must do, I'm double that because I'm a mandatory reporter as a minister as well. So I can't ignore, when in things that we're seeing. And I did report a family, and the kids, were declaring, Mama smokes marijuana, Daddy smokes marijuana. They smoke it in the house. We're around it, the whole thing. They share it with us. And the Child Protective Services went there and took the children out of the home. And the mother calls me, and she's cussing me out, calling me everything but a child of God. And you took my kids. I said, ma'am, I wasn't there. And she said, the police came and Child Protective. And I said, why? And she said, because I smoke in front of my kids, there ain't nothing you can do about it. I said, I didn't have to. They did. Your actions took your children away from you, not mine. And I said, when you get your act together and realize you take ownership for your actions, please don't blame them on me or somebody else, But, yes, yeah. Adults in general. Absolutely, absolutely. And, y'all, we grew up with bullying. It happened in school. Now, I don't understand, us guys will throw a punch or two, we'll shake hands, we're best friends, and we move on. But y'all women, y'all will fight until somebody dead. Y'all don't come up, y'all swing, hit, bite, my goodness. At least the ones I see on video, in the schools, y'all. And if a young lady goes and reaches to take her earring off, it's fixing to go down. Something is fixing to happen, and I'm going, whoop, stop this bus because something's fixing to go on. But we did, Helen, we had a sense of respect. If I got in trouble at school, I didn't question that authority. My mama didn't say, oh, well, I don't believe he did that. It didn't make no difference. I got sent outside for a switch. Don't let me come back with one that ain't big enough. Mama come back with the whole tree. No, we didn't do that, Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, that is true. That is so true. Oh, yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me dial the number for you. What do you not miss about the past? What are you really glad it's gone? Hunger. Okay. Y'all can't think of anything that's in the past that you're glad it's in the past and gone? When it even comes to technology, okay, there are some good things that come with technology. There are some bad things that come with technology. Although we have the freedom of speech, I wish we had the freedom of discernment. And somebody decided what was, and it is, and we've got children using some of the filthiest language, and parents do, and they think we have no right to tell them not to. But yet we saw Sunday night somebody got fined $10,000 because they said it in Spanish instead of saying it in English. If it's $10,000 for you, why ain't it $10,000 every time somebody else says it? It don't work that way, and I really don't understand why. But I would hate to do all of the reports and all of the things that I have to produce, and I have to do it with a manual typewriter. Oh, my goodness. I'd be a basket case, even though that's how I learned. So technology has been good. My grandfather, when computers first come out, he said, Waylon, this is going to be the death of America. This is not good. Grandfather was a phenomenal Christian. And me and my brother was going, you are so old-timey, Papa. You ain't got a clue what all this is. But now that I'm 62 years old, he was right. There is more destructive to it than there actually is in good. All right, now we chased a few rabbits there, but when it's all said and done, do you have meaning in your life? Are you not proud in the way of being vain, but are you happy walking in the path that God's put you on right now? Are you content? Now, content in a good way, not content in, I'm content in doing nothing. That's not realistic. That's certainly not godly. But are you happy in the place that you're serving? And are you finding that function and you know what it is that God wants you to do? And you are happy with life in general. And your happiness doesn't matter if the bills get paid. Doesn't matter if the house isn't clean. Your happiness comes from the interrelationship you have with God. And that gives you meaning for life and makes you keep going and makes you want to do, whatever it is that God has you to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Let's look at that other video, Mr. Daniel. How many of y'all have heard the phrase, I'm just living in the moment? And although that sounds good, let's change it to live in His moment. And we all have a job to do. As we're doing it, let's make sure that as we go, it's glorifying God. That what we're doing is glorifying and edifying Him and building relationships with each other, us and Him, and leading others to Him. All right, let's stand together. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Larry Martin, will you pray for us, please, sir?